Are you able to tell which way is pin 1? If there's no dimple or pin 1 that's specific, then look for the writing and see which direction.
I can see the writing. The writing's correct facing me as is.
Okay. Alright, so now, as long as you know that, then your next job is to build a nice little house out of Kapton tape. So you're going to use this plastic Kapton tape. I already cut off some for you. So you can just start building a square all the way around it. And get it up close to all the chips.
Up against the chip? Or?
Up against the leg. You want the legs to be exposed, but you want the rest. Anything else that's on the board, you want it to be protected. You don't want anything to be shown or anything that is visible outside of that. Okay. Now the only other thing is where the plastic comes out right here. So you've got the chip pretty well covered right there. But right here, this plastic area, this is going to melt. So we want to take another piece and we want to cover all of the plastic to make sure it survives the burn function that's going to happen. Okay. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to use liquid flux, and you are going to paint the legs so that the legs are covered with a minimal amount of flux, and that will cause the temperature to be raised and the solder will melt faster. Okay. So once you have that done inside of this, we're going to try to figure out a way to make that fit inside of this rig.
This here?
Yes. So usually I clamp it. I usually use the bars for stability. So move it up towards the bars and then open that up enough and then clamp it in between them so that it doesn't.
So it's going to sit on top of this.
We'll sit on top and then clamp it. Yeah. And then that way it won't move, so that you'll be able to reach in there and pick it up with a set of tweezers. So are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
So what you're going to do is you are going to be able to try to pick up the chip from its side, from its leg, without touching the legs at all. You're going to pick it up from its side. So you need to make sure when you put it inside of the infrared tool that you have access to pick it up from the side.
Gotcha.
Okay? So make sure that that's in, and because you will also have in the infrared tool, this flap is going to be down. And when the flap is down, you want to make sure that you have access. Okay?
Okay.
Alright, so now what you do, alright, so it's going to take a minute and a half or so, so you don't have to sit there with your arm out there cooking it. So go ahead, and there is some protective glasses.
How do I know when it's directly underneath?
Well, you'll see when the light comes on, but you're pretty close. So put the glasses on. This is right now at 350 degrees Celsius, so it's going to be about 700 degrees or so Fahrenheit. So when you flip that on, you'll be able to see where it is underneath the light. So go ahead and do that. Now, that's going to start frying the chip. And it's going to take about a minute and a half. Now this chip can take a pretty good beating. It pretty much survives almost anything. But other chips, like a CPU or something, you would want to have this at a pulsing rate. So if the temperature is lower, the device will pulse instead of doing it all at once. That way the temperature doesn't exceed what the chip will do before the chip falls apart. So you may need to practice with another board to make sure you have the temperature low enough. Otherwise, we're just hammering this one as 100% as we can. And it will do damage to a CPU, but on a ROM chip, it'll probably survive any of this. It's not quite ready yet. It's going to take about a minute and a half, so we're about a minute in. So you can usually also tell because the feet will kind of turn shiny mercury color. So as soon as the solder melts, it'll start to shine.
I'm going tape's coming up.
Don't worry about the tape. That's fine.
Okay.
The tape's only there to protect the stuff around it. You don't need to worry about the tape. As soon as you see whether or not that chip looks like it's turning shiny silver at the legs or anything, try to pick it up from the side legs, from the side without. If it doesn't come straight up, then just wait a second or two longer. But go ahead and see if it comes up. There you go. Bring it up.
Mm.